likes that. Steve Cortes is with us now, America First PAC spokesperson. Now, Steve, I read your stuff, and you've got your own economic proposal to deal with the virus and deal with the economy, and there are 3 points to it. Tell us real fast, what do you got in mind?
Real fast. And number one's the most important. Take the tax rate to zero for all but the highest bracket. For middle and lower income workers, the federal tax rate, not just a tax holiday from the payroll tax, the overall rate to zero, and take it there indefinitely. Secondly, I think we need to bring massive fiscal stimulus to this situation, Stuart. So secondly, for those who are out of work, that tax break doesn't help them. So we need to double unemployment benefits. Again, temporarily, along with the income tax going to zero. And then thirdly, we need to postpone all student loans. I think that, Stuart, there is an economic inferno that is starting in this country. We cannot fight it with a garden hose. We have to fight it with absolute water cannons. And this is a time to be big and be bold. That's why I wrote that article and made that proposal to the White House and the president.
And you don't think that the current rescue package, so to speak, at $1 trillion is not enough?
It's not big enough, Stuart, unfortunately. And I know that sounds crazy, $1 trillion. And believe me, I'm not a big government guy. This is very unusual for Steve Cortes to be advocating for this kind of federal action. But I think the economic situation warrants it. And this is no time for us to suddenly get religion, by the way, on the deficit after we've been running up the deficit of $1 trillion a year for 2 decades. This is actually the time when we can borrow in global capital markets as a country for effectively 0% for the long term and bring massive immediate help to the American worker. Because also, I'm not talking about new entitlements or new bureaucracies or agencies. I'm saying let the people keep their money for now, all of it, so that we can restart this amazing American growth story. And I think we can restart it, Stuart, within weeks to months, not months to years. We can get back on the trajectory that we were on previously quickly if we take big, bold action now.
This is a radical departure for Republicans, conservatives, people like yourself, because this is a sea change in what you think the government should be doing. Okay, you reduced the zero to tax rate, I got that, but there's a lot of spending involved here. There's an enormous amount of government spending that goes out there. That is the sea change for Republicans and conservatives. Do you think that you can well, I think you have persuaded. I think the Republican Party is largely on board with a completely different way of going at a crisis.
Well, look, exactly. None of us can control this. None of us can predict this, right? It's an act of God that has fallen upon the world, but certainly upon our country. And we have to change our thinking temporarily. Again, also, that's why I think this is crucial, Stuart. I'm not talking about new bureaucracies. I'm not talking about a permanent entitlement. I'm saying to bridge this gap, to get the American worker, and again, I'm also not talking about the highest end who doesn't need help. I'm talking about middle and lower income folks, to get them through this crisis so that we can then get back on the trajectory we were on because of President Trump. These kind of bold measures are necessary. And I would say to some of my friends on the right, my allies who are disagreeing with me on this and are taking a very sort of doctrinaire approach to the economy right now, we have an economy, Stuart, to serve a citizenry, not the other way around. Okay, we are a country that has an economy, not the other way around. And we cannot save capitalism by taking Austrian economic stances right now. This is a time for extremely bold, near-term action. And in doing so, we're going to give the people the confidence and the cash to get back to spending, back to working. I agree totally with the Wall Street Journal. We have to have an end date also on these harsh lockdown measures all over America. If we do all of the above, if we establish a reasonable end date and flood Americans with the cash they need near term, then this country will quickly rebound. I guarantee it. By the end of summer, I believe we can be massively growing again.
We hear you, Steve Cortes. We like what you say. Let's see if it works out. Steve Cortes, everyone. Thanks for joining us, Steve. Good stuff. Okay. Markets holding on to a gain of 350.